Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HJ.Talks. Are you a foreigner or an expat who has just landed your dream job in one of the most coveted jurisdictions in the world? That is Singapore. If so, here are 5 things you need to know before you move to Singapore. Number 1, working out your tax residency. Generally speaking, you'll be subject to tax on the income that arises from your particular job or profession in Singapore. As a foreigner, you'll be treated as tax resident for a particular year of assessment if you have stayed or worked in Singapore for at least 183 days in the previous calendar year, or continuously for 3 consecutive years, or worked in Singapore for a continuous period across 2 calendar years, and your total period of stay is at least 183 days. Please note that Singapore has a calendar year for their tax year for individuals, just like in the United States. 2, as a foreigner working in Singapore, the tax return is typically due the calendar year after the year in which you earn the income, generally speaking. And it's due between March 1st and April 18th. If you've received a letter, form, or an SMS from IRAS, which is the Inland Revenue Authority of Singapore, informing you that you need to do so. And this is normally regardless of how much you earned in the previous year or whether your employer is participating in the auto inclusion scheme for employment income. Now, there's an aggressive penalty up to 5,000 Singapore dollars if you do not file your tax return by April 18th. When I mentioned the auto inclusion scheme for employment income, under that arrangement, you may be subject to automatic withholding, and the tax is automatically remitted to the Inland Revenue Authority of Singapore, as opposed to no tax being withheld for the entire calendar year. And then in the following year, when you file your return, you would then need to remit the entire annual tax bill for the prior year taxes. Number 3, tax tips. Speak to your chosen tax professional because you may be subject or you may be able to benefit from certain deductions, such as for spouses, for kids, for approved educational courses, or donations to approved charities. You can also consider a retirement savings plan under the SRS or the Supplementary Retirement Scheme, but you should get advice if you're US exposed, if you're a US taxpayer, because under some structures, this retirement plan can be punitively taxed under the PFIC regime in the US tax code. Number 4, tax clearance. If it is that you are switching jobs within Singapore and you're on an employment pass, or your period of time in Singapore has sadly come to an end, you would need to get a tax clearance. And that's a form IR-21. So you can speak to your tax advisor or to the payroll department within your company. What it essentially means is that as of the time of termination, a return of sorts would need to be filed, and any taxes due would be immediately payable. So you don't wait until the following year like you would normally do, the following calendar year. It becomes immediately payable. And number 5, please remember that you need to keep the government portal aware of what your contact details are. So if there are any changes, for example, you change address, or you change your SIM card, so you change your phone number, or you change your email address, you need to go into the My Tax portal and make that change. Welcome to Singapore, and be prepared to have the time of your life while working really hard as well.